Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's episode review. This time we will be reviewing episode 60, which is the duel between Mimi and Swirly, but more important than that, it is Yuga and his crew going to confront Yuo about the origins of fusion. Generally speaking, what were my thoughts on this episode? Well, to be completely honest, absolutely loved this episode. This might genuinely be my favorite episode. It really might be. If it's not, it's one of my probably top 5 so far. I loved 58. I loved 23 when Nail Maximum summoned, and of course when Yuo Fusion summoned in 58. And I'm looking at 7s right now, right? In the last 2 episodes, not counting 59, because 59 was a recap for the most part. The last 2 episodes, 58 and 60, in my opinion, 2 of the best episodes of the show so far. That is a really good sign, in my opinion, because you want a show to continue to get better and better. If your favorite episode in a 100-episode show is episode 17, then that means that the last 83 episodes never reached the bar that 17 hit. So for me, it is a really good sign, an encouraging sign, of course, for me personally, that the last 2 true episodes were 2 of the best episodes I think Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's has had so far. There was so much to unpack from episode 60. The main goal of the episode was for Yuga to learn about the origins of fusion, where fusion came from, and so, he's tired the whole time. We think that he is maybe so affected by what happened in 58 when he lost to Yuo, but that was just kind of a gag for comedy. Yuga was really not that affected by it. He was just exhausted, and so that was just a comedic gag that Sevens likes to do. But they go and confront Yuo and the 6 Ross ship. Unfortunately, outside of them seeing Euro and, Euro giving them a thumbs up, having a little bit of interaction there, there's no interaction between Yuka or Yudon, which I would have liked to see Yudon have a little bit of interaction there with the crew. But he talks to Euro and tells Euro how Yuo came across fusion, and then Euro eventually passes that on to Yuga. And Yuga asks Yuo when he sees him, how did you get fusion? Did you create that card? And Yuo says, no, I didn't. Euro expands on that from the information that Yudon told him, which is what I love, because they're kind of making everyone a little relevant here, which is cool. They're kind of giving them their own unique roles to play and how the information conveys itself from one sibling to the next, and then eventually to Yuga's team, just based on the bonds that each individual sibling has, or the feelings that each individual sibling has towards Yuga, is really, really cool, right? Yudon is clearly not in at all allyship with Yuga and his team. It was actually a very, I thought, rivalistic point of view that he had against Gakuto, and it was not a friendly duel that he had against Gakuto. But Euro is different. Euro clearly has respect for Yuga. Remember, he saved Yuga and his friends when Yuo did the puppet show in the halls in 58. So Euro has a lot of respect for Yuga, and I liked that aspect of it, because we're seeing these characters grow. We're seeing these characters slowly but surely develop into their own unique roles that they're playing for this story. And so Yudin doesn't necessarily trust Yuga and his team, but he trusts his brother Euro, and then Euro is the one that passes that information on. And what a big plot point that is. The fusion spell card came from space. The fusion spell card came from space. What does that mean to me? To me, that means that there are probably dozens of other fusion spells out there in space that Yuga and his team are probably going to be able to get their hands on. Yuo did not create this card. I doubt this is a one-off card. I'm sure there are ample copies of fusion out there somewhere in space, or maybe even on the planet, that crashed in like a meteorite or something that they just have to discover. We now, based on that, we now can anticipate how they are going to stop fusion, and that is by getting the fusion spell cards that Yuo got when they were in space. So is Yuga and his team going to go to space anytime soon? I don't know, but I'm very interested to see how that's going to play out. But based on that information, we know Yuo did not create fusion, and we know we can assume, at least I'm assuming, that plenty more fusion cards are out there. And man, oh man, I loved the role that Yuo played in this episode. Yuo seems to me like the first genuinely sadistic character that we have gotten in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. He's the kind of villain that I really enjoy. And while it was a little more comedic and toned down, the scenes of him, you know, chasing Yuga and the gang and trying to put them in an Iron Maiden, where he's literally implying that he wants to put Yuga or someone from his team in that Iron Maiden casket and ship it out into space. It ends up being Kaizo, which I thought was hilarious, especially at the very end when Kaizo breaks the fourth wall. I love when shows do that. The Paper Mario franchise does that all the time, where Kaizo goes, oh, I guess this is the thing where I don't get screen time for a while. Well, I guess it's time to go on a vacation. And Kaizo is probably going to be out of the show for a little bit. But if Yuo succeeded in his plans before Tiger came and effed it up, which was incredible. I mean, Tiger is just so down to beat the heck out of anyone and anything that moves. Absolutely love her. I think everyone loves her. But if Yuo succeeded in that plan, he literally they would have suffocated in space, as he said. So the sadism, the apathy, and the true disdain and sadistic nature of Yuo is so fascinating to me, and it was done in as comedic a way as possible, but to me that did not take away the threat of Yuo at all. And I thought those scenes were very chilling, seeing how short-tempered he was when he realized Yuga was not in complete despair and he was just sleep-deprived. Yuo is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters, and I really, really hope that when he is defeated, he does not get quickly redeemed and become a friend of Yuga and the team. I hope he stays like this, because I think you need a character like this. Even seeing in the beginning a little bit of rivalry that he had with Yudon, where Yudon basically calls him out and says, all right, so what you just said confirms to me that this isn't us running the show. This is you running the show. And Yuo just laughs as if to say, yeah, it is. So again, seeing the further split, we know the split exists between Yuo and Yuka, but that was the first time we've seen Yuo and Yudon actually interact with each other, and the tension there is palpable. So loved that aspect of it. I thought it was just a great episode that fleshed out all the Goha siblings except Eugene, who's just kind of, I know he's, I guess, implied to be at the duel school in the ocean with that fisherman dude. He's kind of just disappeared, but I thought it was a really good episode for a lot of the Goha siblings and for the plot. And of course, you have the book that Swirly finds, and I guess that's the B plot or the A plot, whatever you want to call it, of the episode. Mimi is a librarian. She's gonna, try and work her way back up the corporate ladder, and Swirly is looking for a book that is going to help guide the team on how to stop fusions. And the way Swirly finds this book is from this character. And if you don't recognize this character, he is the video game protagonist of the new Rush Duel game that is out in Japan, or coming out in Japan very soon. Maybe it's just the demo that's out in Japan, and is confirmed to be coming out for English release in October of this year. I think that is the first time a video game protagonist in Yu-Gi-Oh! Made an appearance in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. He even kind of winks at the camera as if to imply, check out the video game. It was really, really cool. And again, I applaud and commend Sevens for doing stuff like this. I just feel like they kind of know that the show does not take itself too seriously at times, and they can do gags and gimmicks like this, which I just think makes the show so much more lively and unpredictable, and I always will commend them for that. So that was really cool. Swirly finds a book named Sevens. We see a little bit of the narration of the book, an old man talking to what I presume is Sevens Road Magician, and telling him that he needs to gather the other holders so that there's 7 Sevens cards, or the 7 Sevens holders, and then the path to hope, the beacon of hope, I believe it is, will open up, which is the Sevens Road path. The summoning chant is the same chant that Yuga uses, which is kind of interesting there. How does he know that chant? How did he draw the Rush Jewel robot, and the robot existed on the moon? There's a lot of weird tie-ins with Yuga here, but obviously Mimi wants to get her hands on the book. She actually wants to give it to the siblings, which is kind of messed up. I mean, the siblings literally kicked you onto the street. Like, come on, Mimi. You got to use a little bit of common sense here. You're nothing to them. Giving them a book is not going to do you any good. They're going to take the book, and then they're going to kick you right to the curb. Like, you know how corporate works, Mimi. I didn't really love that from her. I still think she has that naivety and that gullibility of her, which, I think is a flaw at times in her, not necessarily her character, but just in her persons. I think it's a flaw that a lot of people have. And so she duels Swirly for custody of the book, and Swirly uses Celtic Guardian, Gazelle, the King of Mythical Beasts, Baby Dragon, Dark Magician Girl. The way he reacted to Dark Magician Girl was very similar to how Sho reacted to Dark Magician Girl from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I don't know if anyone else got those vibes, but it was really wholesome. It reminded me of a locals duel where you're playing on tabletop, the duel's getting intense, so other people at locals are watching, they're hovering over you. There was something wholesome about it, and a character that is really improved in my eyes very quickly is Swirly. All jokes aside, I actually really have liked what the show did with Swirly and is doing with Swirly. I feel like he's becoming a little more confident. He's becoming a little more helpful to the group. I was worried he was going to be a silent character like he was portrayed in 53. I was worried that he was just going to be a comedic punching bag. But in this episode, he really wasn't. I thought him and Mimi had a lot of cute moments. It was kind of like a mother dueling her son at times. And to me, again, this was just one of the more wholesome duels that I think I've ever seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it was just two innocent characters, dueling in the library. There was just something very real about it, and it struck me in a way that not a lot of duels do in the wholesome aspect, which I really did appreciate. And Swirly goes on to win. He uses 1,000 Knives. Obviously, it was incredible to see them return. Something that was very ominous at the end of the episode, we see that pages have been torn out. Yuga gives Rook a look, as if he's implying that he has an idea for Rook. But what's weird is when they fast forward through the missing pages, I believe you see the corpses. I don't know if anyone else sees that, but I believe you see the corpses and the fallen bodies of the other Sevens monsters outside of Sevens Road Magician. There is something very eerie, even just talking about it now, there's something very unsettling and unnerving about that. That in one area of the book, and Otis seems to be, we don't know who the author is, but Otis seems to be basing everything off of this book. Does that mean that there's going to be a point where 6 of the Sevens Road holders are going to fall, are going to cease to exist, or are going to, quote unquote, perish? If everything else in the book has been true so far, with the chanting and the Sevens monsters and the, the moon and everything, there was something very eerie about that. Pages missing. Does Otis have the pages? My intuition says yes. But this episode, man, leaves a lot of questions. And to me, plot perspective, even with how wholesome the duel was and how much I enjoyed the duel, I really, really enjoyed it. But guys, I'm going to wrap up my review there. Please let me know your thoughts on episode 60. It was one of my favorite episodes. Let me know if you thought highly of it as well, or let me know if you didn't really enjoy it. And definitely leave your thoughts down below as to why you liked it or why you didn't. And regardless, I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and my review. And a special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, and Jarrett Buller, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood and Latrell Smith. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and who is a YouTube channel member. There are some really cool perks associated with being a patron of mine or being a YouTube channel member. I definitely encourage you to check them out. And to everyone that has supported me through those means, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I stream on Twitch, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram. Links for all of those will be down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.